The port of Chancay in Peru is China's most ambitious endeavor in Latin America, and it's designed to facilitate trade in the Pacific. The $1.3 billion project will offer a direct route to China to cut ship travel time by 10 days.
The problem with these trips...
In between bilateral meetings, I caught up with Peru's Minister of Trade and Tourism, Juan Carlos Mathres. This has to be an insane time for somebody like yourself, normally, but next year, you're in the driver's seat. How does that change things for you? Because Peru gets to host next year.
Yes, well, first of all, we have to take into account that this is the third time that we are host for APEC. The first one was in 2008, the second one 8 years after, 2016, and the third one 8 years after, 2024. So it is a big, big challenge. More after being here, where you have done a very good job, and we have to do our best in order to give everybody the best experience possible. And we do believe that it's a good moment for Peru. This year, 2023, is not an easy year. There's acceleration all over the world, recession in some important countries such as Germany, Italy, Chile, if we consider a neighbor, and maybe Peru. But 2024 would be a good year for us, and I think we are going to lead the growth in the region with about 3%. So we have a lot of things to show to the investors, to the people that is pretending to go to Peru. And we are absolutely convinced that we can give everybody a good opportunity in different aspects, no? In terms of trade, in terms of investment, in terms of tourism, in terms of experience of living in a different culture. I think we have a lot of good things to show to everybody.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Let me ask you about this. Well, you're in the Moscone Center. There's a lot of bilateral meetings going on, but the one bilateral everyone seems to be talking about this week took place in Woodside. Obviously, the United States and China, that relationship, when there's trade tensions, it has an impact on everyone. So
yeah.
What was your takeaway from this week, and how important was it that those two leaders got together?
Yes, the idea is that in our case in particular, we have an advantage that we have developed trade, investment, and tourism almost in the same proportion with the rest of the world. I mean, about 25% with North America, mainly USA, 25% Europe, 25% Asia, mainly China, and 25% Latin America. So that's the reason why we diversify our risk. So we work together with all of them, no? Of course, when something happens in USA or something happens in China, for example, it affects all the world. If something happens in Peru, it's a problem of the Peruvians, but if it happens in USA, it affects all the world. But this position that we have give us alternatives. So, for example, in 2008, 2009, there was a big financial crisis all over the world that started here and affected first USA, then Europe. But in our case, our opportunities were in Asia, mainly China, and Latin America. So in some cases, for example, Mexico depends strongly from USA. More than 70% of the trade is with USA, Central America, the same thing. That's not the case of Peru. No, we have a diversified position and we have alternatives all over the world. No, so that's a good point in our case.
It's smart. Put your chips all over the table, so to speak. Today, your president met with President Xi Jinping. Can you tell us a little bit about that bilateral?
Yes, it's a very, very important one because the two main partners for us are USA and China. In the case of China, they are mainly buyers of commodities, mainly minerals, fish meal. But in the case of USA, it's manufacturing. So more added value, more impact in terms of employment. But in both cases are important markets for us. And in the case of China, and we discussed it with them, they are not only buying now some manufactured products, but also they're investing not only in the mining sector, that was the main focus for them, but they're investing in infrastructure. They have invested in a very important port that is called Chancay. And the slogan is from Chancay to Shanghai, because it goes directly and with a reduction of the freight, but it's very important because it is becoming a very important hub, not for Peru, but for South America. So in the case of products from Chile or Colombia, the reduction of freight is very important because it reduces about 8 to 10 days the transport to China. In the case of the Brazilians, instead of going through Panama, they can save about 20 days going directly to China. So this is a very, very important issue because it is becoming Peru a real hub in terms of maritime service and in terms of airport too. We are doing a important investment in infrastructure and in connectivity. So it is very important.
Let me ask you this. Let me get inside your head. Obviously, before you come to San Francisco, you must have objectives.
Yeah.
What's it like for a trade minister? I mean, the day must start very early and
Yes.
very late. And what's a successful APEC look like to you?
We are becoming an important supplier of foods, principal fruits and vegetables. No? We are the largest exporters of blueberries, the largest exporters of grapes in the world, I mean, of organic coffee, organic banana, the second largest in avocado after Mexico, but we are exporting to the same market, so the prices are coming down. So it means that we have to open new markets. And that's the reason why we bet on free trade agreements, and that's one of the objectives. The other one is to show, and I prepared a presentation for investors yesterday, what are the real conditions of Peru. If you see this year is not a good year for our economy, but you don't have to see the photo, but the video, no, the trend. So if you see 25 years, you can compare with the rest of the region, and you will conclude that Peru is in a privileged position with the lowest rate of inflation, with a very healthy position in terms of debt, with a very healthy position in terms of the growth of the international trade. According to the CEPAL, that is not a Peruvian source, but a Latin American one, in the 15 years previous to the pandemic, I mean, from 2004 to 2019, 2 countries in Latin America were the ones that reduced more the poverty. In the case of Peru and Colombia. In the case of Peru, we reduced it from 50.2%, or more than half of our population was poor, and to 20.5, so almost 30 points. So that's quite a lot. So it means that the model that we are developing is good. Of course, you can find some years like 2023 with El Niño, with a deceleration of the war that is affecting our economy, but we are still maintaining the optimism because 2024 is going to be a good year. I'm an economist, so I'm not just motivated and be optimistic just because I want to be optimistic, but I look at the figures all the time and the trends, and I am convinced that we are going to have a very good year. No?
Trade Minister Juan Carlos Mathres,
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. It's amazing you found time for us given the type of days you're having.
Really my pleasure, Mike.
Thank you.
Nice talking with you. Thank you very much.